Me, 26F, with husband 26M of 4 years. He sold his truck because of our baby and hasn't been the same since. I've been married to my husband for 4 years, and we were thrilled to find out we were expecting a baby 7 months ago. However, this unexpected news led to some significant changes in our lives. My husband had a deep attachment to his truck, which he bought right before we met. He loved that truck, maybe even a little too much. It was his pride and joy, and he spent countless hours and money on it. When we discovered I was pregnant, he started to worry about finances. He mentioned that he might not be able to afford both the truck and the baby. I thought it was a practical concern, especially considering how big and loud the truck was. After some time, he decided to sell it, and even though it broke my heart to see him let go of something he loved so much, I supported his decision. He sold it quickly and bought a more practical car. But after selling the truck, everything changed. It's been 3 weeks, and I hardly recognize him. He used to be so full of life and laughter, but now he comes home from work, plops down on the couch, and stares at the TV until bedtime. I've tried everything to lift his spirits, but nothing seems to work. He's withdrawn from his friends, saying that everything they did revolved around the truck. And now it just feels weird to hang out without it. One night, he confessed that he felt resentment towards me, even though selling the truck was entirely his choice. I was taken aback. I wanted to help him, but I wasn't sure how. I knew it was just a truck, but it seemed to represent so much more to him. I reached out to some friends for advice, and they suggested that he might need to reconnect with his truck buddies. They could help him find a project truck to work on together, something that could reignite his passion. I thought that was a great idea, but when I mentioned it to him, he felt uncomfortable. He didn't want to hang out with them without his truck. As time went on, I could see how much he regretted selling it. I encouraged him to consider getting a less expensive truck, but he was adamant about not wanting to downgrade from his dream vehicle. I felt helpless, watching him struggle with this loss. Finally, after a lot of reflection and some heartfelt conversations, we had a breakthrough. He opened up about how much that truck meant to him. It was a part of his identity. I realized that I needed to support him in finding a solution that worked for both of us. We talked it through and came up with a plan. He sold the car he had bought and decided to use mine instead, which worked out perfectly since I was going on maternity leave soon. He found a totaled truck with a good engine and bought it for a great price. With the help of a couple of friends, he started working on it, and I could see the spark return to his eyes. Now, he's back to his old self, excited about the project and looking forward to the arrival of our baby. It's amazing how a little understanding and communication can make such a difference. I'm grateful we were able to navigate this together, and I can't wait to see him embrace fatherhood while still holding on to a piece of who he is. I'm a 26-year-old woman, and my husband, also 26, and I are eagerly awaiting the arrival of our little one. It's such an exciting time for us. However, things took a bit of a turn when my husband had to sell his beloved truck to prepare for our baby. At first, I thought it was just a practical decision, but I quickly realized that it affected him more than I expected. He seemed to change overnight. The vibrant, fun-loving guy I married became a bit of a shadow of himself. He was less enthusiastic about things he used to enjoy, and I could tell he was struggling with the loss of his truck. We talked about it, trying to figure out what was going on. I encouraged him to share his feelings, and slowly, he opened up about how much that truck meant to him. It wasn't just a vehicle, it was a symbol of his freedom and independence. He felt like he was losing a part of himself, and I could see how that weighed on him. After some heartfelt conversations, we came up with a plan to help him reconnect with that part of himself. We decided to take some time for him to pursue hobbies he loved before the baby arrives. This included going out with friends, working on projects, and even looking into getting a new vehicle down the line when we're more settled. I'm happy to say that he's starting to feel more like his old self again. He's excited about the baby and is embracing this new chapter in our lives. It's incredible how a little communication and understanding can make such a difference. We're both looking forward to welcoming our little one soon, and I can't wait to see how this new adventure unfolds for us as a family. Am I the bad guy for refusing to go to my dad's for the holidays as long as him and my stepmother expect me to accept her as more? When I was just 5 years old, I lost my mom to mental illness. It was a devastating experience that shaped my understanding of family and love. 2 years later, my dad started dating Diane. They dated for 3 years before getting married when I was 10. From the beginning, I never felt a connection with her. I understood that she was my dad's partner, but in my heart, I had one mom and one dad, and I wasn't looking to replace either of them. As I grew older, the tension began to rise. By the time I was 14, my dad and Diane started expressing their disappointment that I didn't see her as my new mom. They would sit me down for discussions, insisting that I needed to appreciate Diane for all she had done for me. Diane would say that after losing my mom, I should be grateful for someone who was there for me, who helped raise me through tough times. She even suggested that my mom's death didn't seem to matter to me as much as the loss of a favorite teacher or friend would. My dad would chime in, reminding me that Diane had given me siblings, and that I should love her for that. He believed I needed a mother figure in my life, someone to show me what a mom could be. They would ask me hypothetical questions about what I would do if my mom walked through the door again. I would tell them that I would be overjoyed and want to live with her, but that didn't seem to help my case. I made it clear that my mom would always be my mom, and no one could take that place. Despite my feelings, Diane expressed that my certainty hurt her. She felt she deserved more love and recognition from me. This pressure continued to build, and eventually I decided to move out after graduating high school. I stayed with my grandparents until college started, and while they were supportive of me, my dad was not thrilled about my decision to stay away during the holidays. When Thanksgiving and Christmas rolled around, my grandparents suggested I come home to them, but my dad insisted I should return to his house. I asked if they could stop pressuring me about Diane, but he said that was a conversation that still needed to happen. Frustrated, I told him I wouldn't come home just to argue. I wanted to enjoy the holidays without conflict. Diane called me afterward, asking if my decision meant I still didn't feel differently about her. When I told her my feelings hadn't changed, she cried and ended the call. She later texted me, insisting we needed to talk and that I should be with them for the holidays. But I had already made plans with my grandparents, and I stood firm in my decision not to go. Now I find myself wondering if I am the bad guy for refusing to spend the holidays with my dad and stepmother. I, 28 male, wrongly accused my girlfriend 24 fail of cheating. Don't know how to move forward. I recently found myself in a situation that I never thought I would be in. I'm 28 years old, and my girlfriend is 24. For a while, she had been acting a bit differently, spending a lot of time on her phone, making calls, and I noticed some charges on her card for events that I wasn't involved in. I tried to brush it off, but after a couple of weeks, the nagging feeling grew stronger. One night, she fell asleep, and I made a terrible decision. I went through her phone. What I found shook me to my core. There were bookings for a hotel in a city far away and tickets for a sporting event happening that weekend. I woke her up, thrust the phone at her, and demanded an explanation. She looked completely distraught and started to cry, asking me if I really thought she would betray me. When she calmed down enough to explain, my heart sank. It turned out she had planned a surprise weekend getaway for us. She had booked time off for me through my boss, reserved a hotel in the city I had mentioned wanting to visit, and even secured tickets for my favorite team's game. She had also made dinner reservations at my favorite restaurant. I felt like the biggest fool for jumping to conclusions and invading her privacy. I tried to apologize, but she was understandably hurt and shut off from me. I realized that my actions had tainted what was supposed to be a wonderful surprise, and I was left wondering how I could make things right. The next day, I read through the responses to my post online, and they hit home. I knew I needed to apologize sincerely and take responsibility for my actions. But before I could even gather my thoughts, she came over. When she arrived, she was calm but sad. She told me that she had always known I checked her phone and that it made her anxious. She had hoped that over time I would learn to trust her, but my actions had shattered that hope. She explained that she loved me but couldn't continue in a relationship where she felt she had to justify every move she made. It was heartbreaking to hear her say that she felt she had to withdraw from her friends because of my insecurities. She told me that she couldn't be with someone who only saw the worst in her. In that moment, I realized how deeply I had hurt her. She packed her things and left, and I knew she was serious. I had projected my past experiences onto her, and it was clear that I wasn't ready to trust anyone yet. I felt lost and regretful, knowing that I had let my fears ruin something beautiful. I had to come to terms with the fact that my actions had consequences. And I was left to reflect on how I could learn from this painful experience. I recently found myself in a tough situation that forced me to confront my own insecurities and behavior. After a series of misunderstandings, I wrongly accused my girlfriend of cheating. The moment I made that accusation, I felt a wave of regret wash over me. I knew I had crossed a line, and it hurt to think about how my actions might have affected her. In the aftermath, my girlfriend took the time to calmly explain her feelings. She expressed her love for me, but also made it clear that she couldn't continue in a relationship where trust was broken. Her words struck a chord deep within me. It was clear that she cared for me, but I had put her in a position where she had to question my faith in her. As I reflected on our relationship, I realized that her decision to leave was not just about the accusation. It was about the pattern of behavior that led to that moment. I understood that I needed to take a hard look at myself and make some changes. I was heartbroken, but I also recognized that she made the right choice for herself. In the weeks that followed, I sought help to work through my issues. I wanted to become a better person, not just for myself, but for anyone I might be with in the future. I knew I couldn't promise my ex-girlfriend that I wouldn't make the same mistakes again, and that realization was painful. However, I was determined to learn from this experience. I appreciate all the support and opinions I received from friends and online communities. They helped me see the truth about my actions and the impact they had on someone I cared about deeply. While I'm still hurting, I'm committed to growing and changing. I hope that one day I can treat someone with the love and respect they deserve, just like my ex-girlfriend deserved. For now, I'm focusing on my journey of self-improvement. I may have lost someone special, but I'm determined to become a new man by this time next year. My 22 femme boyfriend 28 mem posted photo of friend 27 femme sitting in his lap. I was in a relationship with my boyfriend Matt for about 9 months unofficially and 4 months officially. At first, we kept things casual since we were both focused on graduating from our programs. Once we settled in the same city, we decided to make it official. During our casual phase, I met some of his friends, including Sarah, who often made it clear that we weren't exclusive. She would throw out snide comments about my profession, my school, and even my age, which was 5 years younger than Matt and his friends. I usually brushed it off because the rest of his friends were friendly, and I considered myself easygoing. One night, Matt and his friends went to a party, and I couldn't attend due to prior commitments. A few days later, I stumbled upon a photo on Facebook from that party. Everyone looked normal, except for Matt and Sarah. In the picture, she was sitting in his lap, arms and legs wrapped around him, with a pose that felt undeniably suggestive. I felt a wave of discomfort wash over me as I read the comments from others, joking about the situation. I texted Matt, asking him why he thought it was appropriate to take such a photo. He responded dismissively, claiming it was just a photo of friends and that I was overreacting. I tried to explain how disrespected I felt, but he wouldn't budge. I started to wonder if I was being unreasonable, but the more I thought about it, the more I felt that my feelings were valid. After reading some advice online, I realized I wasn't overreacting. Many people pointed out that Matt's reaction was concerning, especially since he hadn't defended me against Sarah's previous comments. I decided I needed to have a serious conversation with him. When I confronted him, he not only doubled down on his stance but also said some hurtful things. This led to a discussion about other issues in our relationship, and ultimately, I made the difficult decision to end things. Fast forward a month later, and I saw on social media that Matt and Sarah were dating. It felt like a punch to the gut, but deep down, I knew I had made the right choice. I learned to trust my instincts and realized that I deserved a partner who respects me. Being single turned out to be a relief compared to being in a relationship where I felt dismissed and belittled. I'm hopeful that one day I'll find someone who truly values me and treats me with the respect I deserve. I recently found myself in a situation that made me question my relationship and ultimately led me to trust my instincts. My boyfriend, who is 6 years older than me, posted a photo on social media that really bothered me. In the picture, a friend of his was sitting on his lap, and I couldn't shake the feeling that it crossed a line. At first, I tried to brush it off, thinking maybe I was overreacting. After all, they were just friends, right? But as I looked closer, I realized that this wasn't just a casual moment. It felt disrespectful to me. I began to wonder if this was a pattern of behavior that I had overlooked. I decided to confront him about it. I expressed how the photo made me feel and why I found it inappropriate. To my surprise, he dismissed my feelings, insisting it was just a harmless picture. That response only fueled my concerns. I started to think about what I truly wanted in a relationship, someone who respects me and my boundaries. After some serious reflection, I realized that I deserved better. I didn't want to be in a relationship where I felt disrespected or dismissed, so I made the tough decision to end things. It wasn't easy, but I knew I had to put myself first. Now, as I move forward, I feel a sense of relief. I know that trusting my gut was the right choice. I hope my ex-boyfriend and his friend find what they're looking for, but I'm ready to embrace new opportunities and relationships that value respect and understanding.